HQ. My name is Lloyd Cryer, and I am here with the gentleman in the top left, Charles Doze. What are you up to,
What's up?
Charles?
Man, I'm just happy to be here with you and Chris Roe, the rowboat. He
There
is
he
here.
is. Chris is
All
right below
right.
you in the lower left corner, and we are excited to be here with Chris as well. We do have Traci Lords joining us here in, I'm sure, a minute or two. But we might as well get the show started and get it kicked off. Let's talk about what have you been up to, Chris? It's been so long since I've seen your face.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen yours. As I said to you earlier, when I tuned in last week, your head was tipped. And you had that hat, and I saw this beard, and I was like, well, where's Lloyd? I thought Lloyd would be on here. And it wasn't until you started talking that I realized it was you.
But you got to tell people why you didn't recognize me. All the facial hair and
yeah, I mean, everyone's just kind of growing everything out right now. But just getting through the muck of it all. For me, in a kind of twisted sort of way, I don't mind it. I don't. I'm used to traveling. I mean, I'm on the road all the time, and
Sure.
So suddenly to have this much time off is really crazy, and I've kind of gotten used to it.
yeah.
I feel you there, Chris. I'm the same way. I'm not used to being home so much, so I feel you.
I know you're always in some exotic, far-off land. I mean, I used to feel privileged until I realized how much you traveled, and then I went, forget about it. I'm just nothing.
Not anymore. I'm just hanging out.
we should probably introduce you to the crowd, to everybody that's watching, because they may not know who Chris Roe is. Chris, we've known Chris for a long, long time. Chris is a celebrity booker. What do you call yourself, Chris? What's the official title?
I'm a talent manager.
Talent manager. That sounds much better than.
He calls himself. He told me he was a pimp. So
I've been that too, but my life doesn't revolve around booking people into conventions. I actually book film and TV work and have for 25 years. So next year, 25 years. So I've been doing this for a long time.
Yes, you have. I've known Chris since around 2006 when we met at a convention in Chicago, and got to know Chris. We booked George Romero with you. We've booked so many guests over the years. It's just been crazy. So, but it's always a joy to work with you, and you ventured further into the filmmaking scene. And now you're directing a film and producing a film called Cemetary Tales. Is that right?
Yeah, well, it actually goes back. I started in 2008. For those people who remember the 40th anniversary edition of Night of the Living Dead that the Weinsteins released, I co-directed and produced the documentary called One for the Fire. And up to that point, and pretty much still, I believe, it's the most in-depth documentary on Night of the Living Dead. We were able to get a lot of folks who were no longer with us involved with it. And the Weinsteins released it that year. So I guess that would be the first project that I directed going back to 2000. Actually, we shot it in 2007, and it was released by the Weinsteins in 2008. Did a few things in between, and then after George passed, I decided it was time to brush off some ideas that I had been working on. He was aware of them, and we had a couple of good conversations about them. And one day I just went, I guess it's time, and assembled a crew quickly. Finished the script, and the rest is history. Although, and of course, Traci will join us here shortly. I don't know where she is, but although I guess I can say this, doesn't matter. Cemetary Tales, A Tale of Two Sisters, was not the script that I originally was going to shoot. I was going to shoot a completely different script. And Traci was going to do something else, and it was because that she was selected to be given a Lifetime Achievement Award at a film festival in Spain. I thought, you know what, this is a perfect opportunity to get a little extra marketing out of this. And so Traci suddenly came into the mix, rewrote an idea that I had, scrapped the idea we were going to do, and Tale of Two Sisters was shot instead.
Well, that's great.
And it was fast. It was the fastest turnaround on any project that I had ever done. It was, we shot it, edited the entire thing, and had it complete in about 5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. That is crazy. So how different is this from the original script you wrote? Is that something else you'd want to do later on?
Yeah, it's one that we will do. It's one that's on the table to do. The whole idea behind Cemetary Tales was to do an anthology series or an anthology movie. And I put together about 8 to 10 different stories. And we decided to do the one that I wanted to do first. It was something I'd been working on for a long, long time. Wanted to actually shoot it in New Orleans. And we were kind of set to do that. And then the opportunity came up to do Traci and do something around her. And I knew that I would be able to get prime spot location at the film festival. Sitges Film Festival, for those who don't know or what it is the largest genre festival in the world. It's been around for over 50 years. Every major distributor on the planet will go there to look at genre films. And so I knew getting it to air there or debut there would be a fantastic opportunity. And that's why we switched everything around.
Right. Well, you've won several
lots
awards.
of awards.
A lot of awards.
Too many awards, Chris. Way to show off.
Let's fill time, and you just go ahead and start naming them, and we'll fill time until Traci joins us, because that'll take a while.
Hold on, I just got a message from Traci.
Uh-oh.
Let's see, what does she says? Oh my God, driving home, got the time mixed up. Okay. Well, look, we've won quite a few. I mean, we've won about 43 awards for it. What's really been a thrill with this is it's played all over the world. It's played in Australia. Yeah. It's played in a couple festivals in Australia. It's played in Japan. It's played in Italy, Spain, England, Ireland, all over America, Canada, I think Romania, a bunch of places. So we've won kind of a mixed bag of nuts all over the world, which has been really great. We've won awards for best horror, best thriller, best mystery. Those are always kind of gobbled together depending upon the different categories that they have. We've won Best Actress, I think 5 or 6 times. We've won Best Director 4 or 5 times. The music score for this is really outstanding. It's a really great music score. And so our composer, it was a first-class composer. And in fact, he just had an Emmy nomination for a show that he did for Amazon called Dark Web.
Okay.
And really great costume designer, Chris Deskins. She's won 5 or 6 awards for it. So we've won quite a bit. And I think, we're still on the books to play it, I think, another 7 or 8 festivals. We've been in about 60 festivals around the world. Because of COVID-19, it really messed up the scheduling for a lot of festivals. So a lot of them have actually pushed their festivals because they were hoping that they'd be able to do a live festival, which clearly that's not going to happen. So a lot of them are now very quickly, once the realization set in that they're not going to be able to do a live festival, they're now working on an online platform. So a lot of the festivals that we were supposed to be at in the spring will now be the fall. So
Gotcha.
we've had a really good run. I have nothing to complain about. Many people who do a film don't even get press. I mean, they're lucky to even get into. And so the fact that I was able to get into about 60 and win 40 awards and get write-ups and get press and get that kind of recognition, really, it's an honor. Because I know a lot of really good filmmakers who have made some great movies, and they can't even get into a festival.
Yeah, it's tough. It really is.
It's true. Going back to the score, I really love the score in this, Chris. I mean, it really echoes back to the days of like Bernard Herrmann, like really old school. So tell us a little bit about the score and how it came about.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Bernard Herrmann, because that was the influence that I had from the get-go, was Bernard Herrmann. And one thing that I really promised myself that I would do, and it was something that I think I learned from George Romero, which was, when the film's finished, give it to your editor, let him go do his thing, and see what he's put together, and then give him your notes. But let him or her do their thing and leave them be. So as soon as the movie was finished, it went immediately straight to the editing room. And my editor, Michael Bruning, did a fabulous job on it. But in order to get a mood for the film, he laid down a temp score. Well, we had never really talked about that. We talked about, the influence, the time period, this, that, and the other, but we never specifically talked about the type of score I wanted laid down. I had talked about it with other folks. I just hadn't spoken about it with him. Well, when he sent me the rough cut, he had laid down temp music, all Bernard Herrmann. That's kind of visualized it being was Bernard Herrmann. So I thought that was incredible. He took all this great Bernard Herrmann music from different films and kind of laid this temp track for it. Then when it was time to send it over to the composer to work on, the composer had already read the script. And the script had been well looked over by him. Again, I wanted to leave him alone and let him do his thing. When he watched the movie and he'd already read the script, his immediate thought was Bernard Herrmann. My only notes is that I wanted a lot of string instruments. I love string instruments. I think that they can be really haunting. And so he sat down, within 3-4 days, worked up a composition, and lo and behold, it was string instruments and harps and cellos and violins and all of that. And that's
what you wanted.
And that's exactly what I wanted. And he laid down the tracks. He sent them to me. How does this sound? I said, great. I went into the studio with him. We queued them up to the specific scenes on what we wanted to do. I talked very specifically about the mood, crescendos, the tone for each scene. And then he went back and finished it. And I'm so happy that he's gotten awarded like he has, because he really is a first-class composer. And it's great to see him get the recognition for it. It was great to see him just get the Emmy nomination. He didn't win, but for Dark Web, but it was great to see him finally get the recognition.
What kind of influence did George Romero have on your filmmaking style? I know you mentioned the editing, in the part that you said previously, but did he have a big influence on your filmmaking style?
Well, he did. I mean, for those people who really dissect George's work, you can't help but have some kind of influence by him. I mean, his work really has these layers of social commentary. And there's some of that in there. But I think for me, the biggest influence was just overall George talking about little things like, your editor and knowing what's going on a set. I mean, he always said a director should know the job of every department. So when they come to you asking for more money, or they come to you saying they need more time, you know whether that's something that they really need or if they're not doing their job. We would talk. Music was a big deal to George. He loved film music, loved it very much. He passed away listening to film music. And so that was something that was really important to him. So that was very important to me. Going back to the incarnation of Cemetary Tales, I wanted to do something that was very along the lines of Creepshow or along the lines of Tales from the Dark Side. And I had originally approached George with the idea of Cemetary Tales going back to probably 2008. I had gotten the idea of Cemetary Tales traveling to different cemeteries around the world when I would be for a film festival or a movie shoot or something, or vacation. And he loved it. He loved the idea of it. And we talked about it. I kind of resurrected it maybe 2012. And we talked about it a bit, but he was in the process. He promised a former partner who had done Tales from the Dark Side with him that he would work on that with him. And the two were so similar. He couldn't really do anything with Cemetary Tales, but it was on that back burner. And before George got sick, right before we found out that he was sick, I had kind of resurrected it again and put it in front of him and said, let's talk about this, because he and I had worked out some stories. We talked about the tone of it and the style of it, and we had really liked Twilight Zones and Night Gallery and Outer Limits and those sorts of shows. Even some back earlier, like Thriller, and Boris Karloff had done a show that got shelved called Behind the Veil, or I think it was just called The Veil. So he knew exactly what I was wanting. He liked the idea of it too. There was just a conflict, and I think we were just about to he was about to throw in the towel on the Tales from the Dark Side resurrection, and then we found out he got sick.
Yeah. Well, you've got something behind you that I see that's coming up soon too, from Romero.
Oh yeah. Well, we can talk about this next week more in depth, but
yes,
George had in 2008 I put together a book deal for George with Grand Central Publishing, great publisher, and it was to do two original zombie novels, and George, being the great procrastinator, he didn't finish them. He wanted to just turn the book in complete. Despite the deal on the table, he wanted to just take his time. That was mistake number one, because he was a procrastinator. But he'd started it, and he wrote this fantastic book, and he passed before it was ever finished. And so I found someone to come in and finish it, Daniel Krause. Daniel worked with Guillermo del Toro on some other books and just a wide range of other things. He's a New York Times bestseller. And we finished it, and it comes out August 4th. It's called The Living Dead, and it is it's pretty fantastic. It's almost 700 pages, and it is a pretty epic adventure. I think I'm excited to hear the audiobook. I've got the audiobook coming this week. Bruce did the audiobook, did part of it. And, loved every moment of it. It was a hard book to read. It was a lot of work to do. It was 7 hours a day for a week in the recording studio. But I think people are going to be really pleased. I heard some of the snippets of it. So if you don't like to actually read, you can download the audio.
Well, that's exciting, and we can tease that we do have next week. We've got the co-author. Is that what we call him? The co-author, Daniel Krause?
Yeah.
He's coming on next Saturday, which I believe is August 1st. So we'll get more in depth with that at that time. I'm going to go ahead and show the poster on screen here for Cemetary Tales. And,
yeah, it's a great poster.
Yeah, so, I've got that up.
So when you did Tale of Two Sisters, Chris, it really does throw back to the old noir suspense films of the 30s and 40s. Did you always want this to be black and white in your head, or was it sort of an ideal transition as you were making it?
No, I always wanted it to be black and white. In fact, some people said, "Oh, don't do it black and white. You're going to limit your audience." I didn't care. And it's true. I think for some people, some festivals, when you're dealing with people who are in their 20s, who maybe don't look at cinema, they just blank out when they see black and white. But it was an homage to 1930s, 40s, early 50s cinema. And that was completely intentional. On set, I had 3 monitors, and 2 monitors that I sat behind, and then the camera guys had a monitor. But I would not let the 2 monitors that I sat behind be color. I wanted them in black and white. If not, it threw me out of what's happening. And everything that I did, you know, when you shoot black and white, it's very complicated. It's not, you can't just turn on the camera and start rolling, because, for instance, red will look black, you know, so you have to sit down all of your fabrics, all of your clothing, all of the textures. Textures are very important because they'll show up differently in black and white. So on the set, you would see colors that completely didn't match, but in black and white, it looked stunning. Everything popped out. And so when I would go to the store, or the costume designer, or the set designer would send me something to look at, they would take a picture of it, turn it to noir settings on their phone, and then send it to me so I could look at it in black and white. And that's how we made all of our decisions. So the editor had sent me the entire piece in black and white, but he had made a revision to a particular scene with Bruce Davison, and he just wanted to see if I liked it. And he sent it to me, but didn't tell me that he'd sent it to me in color. So I'm watching black and white, and then all of a sudden this color scene pops up, and it was only for like 35 seconds, but it completely took me out of what I was watching. And I stopped it, and I said, I can't look at this. I said, you're going to have to put it in black and white, then send it back to me. He goes, well, that's going to take a bit of time. I said, okay, I'll be here. But really, that's what it was about, was keeping consistent with that. I didn't want to see any of it in color whatsoever.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I think that worked perfect for this piece in particular, because it definitely would have taken you out of the atmosphere of the film. I mean, that's the way you designed it, of course, but it is a period piece too, also.
It's total period. It takes place in 1949. We shot this in an old mansion up in the Hollywood Hills that was once owned by James Whale. So,
Bride of Frankenstein, guys.
Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, the old dark house. And so, because nothing that I do is ever on the cheap side, there's nothing frugal about me, I'm looking at locations and I find this, and the moment I saw this house, out of all the houses I was looking at all over Los Angeles, it was literally the way I had envisioned the story when it was written. The only thing it didn't have was a balcony on it, and I reworked the balcony scene, but it has this beautiful kind of outdoor terrace, this mansion does, which is what opens up the Traci coming onto the screen is on that terrace. So that almost worked the same. We did a few tweaks to it. But to be able to shoot in this beautiful mansion up in the Hollywood Hills, we actually shot in 2 homes. Most of it was shot in the mansion, except the staircase scene. This mansion had the most awful staircase, most boring staircase you've ever seen for a mansion that is this beautiful 1920s Tuscan style mansion. So I found the staircase scene at a home in Koreatown. And, I took my camera guy and we looked at it and I said, can you mesh these things up to make it look like, when you walk through a door, we're in a completely different location. He said, no problem, we'll be able to do it. And he did it, and he did it really well. I was actually really concerned about it. But because we shot it in black and white, there were a few things that in color you would have noticed. Black and white, not so much. We were able to hide some stuff with shadow, and it made all the difference. So in a way, black and white saved us also. So in the house, you see little pictures of like James Whale, and I have them out the house. It was fun to do it.
It's gotta be real cool to be in the location. James Whale, one of the most iconic directors. It's gotta feel really cool to be shooting in there, getting the history in.
It was, and I paid for that wonderful thrill. Let me tell you.
I bet
you paid for it because you're fancy, Chris. You're not frugal. You're fancy.
Super expensive, and the guy who owns the house knows what he has. He was an asshole, and there's no amount of money you could get me to ever go back there and do it again because he was horrible to work with. Mm-hmm. He's one of those guys that would stand over you. Literally, I would be behind the monitors, and I would turn around and he'd be standing there. And he would be standing and he would look at me and he'd say things like, it's 9 o'clock. You think you're going to go into overtime? And I would be like, I have no clue. Go find the other producer. Leave me alone. Literally, I would literally be like, and literally, he would come up and he would say, okay, because you guys are going to be in overtime. You're clearly not finished. So I'll start. And he would start a stopwatch.
Oh, wow.
And if you went 3 minutes into overtime, he charged you 3 minutes of overtime. He would take all of those calculations, add that up, and charge you 3 minutes of overtime. And finally, he really thought he was, I got the best location, I got the best property in all of Los Angeles, blah, blah, blah. Everyone comes here to film, blah, blah, blah. Last day of filming, I come in and he goes, you're supposed to have been here an hour ago. And I said, no, we're supposed to have been here now at 10 o'clock. He goes, no, you're supposed to be here at 9. And I said, well, we didn't finish last night until 10. He goes, that doesn't make any difference. I said, I have to have union rules. I have to have a 12-hour turnaround before I can bring my cast and crew back. He goes, well, that's your problem, not mine. He goes, you started on the clock at 9 o'clock. And I blew up. I just had a meltdown. And I said to him, and my camera guys, everyone was walking behind me, and they just scattered like roaches. And I just let this guy have it. And I said to him, I said, you've been on our asses every day that we've been here with your goddamn stopwatch. And I said, I've just about had it. I said, for someone who knows so much about film work like you claim, and that you have so much film work here, you clearly don't know anything about filmmaking, because you would know that I have to have a 12-hour turnaround. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And the other producer came on. I said, you deal with him. I don't want to see him for the rest of the day. And even though it's his house, I didn't want to see him. And the other producer went and dealt with that. He later on did come up to me very kind of cautiously, because this brown skin does turn red and veins do pop out. But
we know that, Chris. We've seen Chris mad.
We have seen that, yes.
He did come up to me. He goes, well, I just wanted you to know I made some calls and you're completely right. Like, I needed to know that I was right. And he apologized. And I I ignored him and walked on. But it was a beautiful home. I loved it. I'd never shoot there again. The place in North Korea, Jesus. In Korea.
North Korea, Chris.
What is on your mind right now?
Tell us, Chris, what's really on your mind?
My landlord was Kim Jong-un. Guy in Koreatown was fantastic. And then the cemetery where we shot was just phenomenal. And what I thought was going to be the most expensive location to shoot, the cemetery, ended up being the cheapest, which is odd for California. Going to a cemetery and shoot in LA, it can cost you $7,000 to $10,000.
That's crazy. Why is that? Is it permits or something?
All permits. Everything's permits in LA. And so not only do you have your permit, but then you have whoever owns and runs and operates the cemetery, they get to charge whatever they want. So if I'm a big production, then I can afford to shoot there. If I'm a $5 million production or $500,000, I wasn't. So the fact that they're going to charge you the same amount that they charge Spielberg is wrong. And that was the same way with the guy at the house. He didn't care. He charged what he charged. And again, I don't regret it because I got exactly what I wanted. I just would never go there. And when we had a day of reshoots that we needed to do, I looked at the team and I said, there is no way in hell I'm going to ask this guy if we can go back there and shoot. Not for 1 hour. Figure it out. We'll do it at the other. That's what we did. There were a few scenes we didn't get shot, like Traci walking down the hallway and all of that. And we ended up doing it at the other house, mix and matching plants, paintings, anything we could to avoid ever having to step our feet back on that property.
Yeah. Well, you don't notice it at all. It all looks great.
Yeah. It's very flawless.
I have the trailer queued up. Should we go ahead and play everybody the trailer?
Sure.
Okay, Here we go. Let's play the trailer. This is the trailer for Cemetary Tales, A Tale of Two Sisters, starring Traci Lords and directed by Chris Roe.
Those sisters.
I was your agent for 30 years, the both of you.
Oh, Miss Chastain, Dr. Osborne is in the study.
When's the last time you visited the grave?
A month ago.
Can't be real.
A bizarre tale of two sisters, only in Hollywood.
Movie star, so great job with her. Great casting, Chris. Great cast overall, though.
And we're going to go ahead and let Traci in because she just popped up. So let's add her in here. There she is. Look at that. Can you hear us? Oh, I think she's trying to fix her audio.
Well, yeah, she'll get us in a second. So, yeah, like I was saying, Chris, really love the cast, though. You know, Traci's great.
Oh, she's lost her again.
She's like she's like the perfect 1940s movie star, like I was saying. You know, Bruce Davison, we love him. Michael Broderick is great. So, how did your cast come along when you were doing this? Did you have everybody in your head already?
Every single person, because I represent every single one of them.
Easy, right?
So as I was writing it, I was like, oh, I think Bruce should be the agent. Oh, I think Raj should be the housekeeper. There was never any doubt, as I said before, about Traci. I knew.
You're there. We see you, Traci, by the way.
Look at her.
There she is.
She's back.
She is back.
Can you hear us? I can't hear her.
Yeah, I can't hear her either. You might
Here,
check
hope you can
check
see
your
it.
audio on the Zoom app, Tracy. That's probably what it is. Sometimes it doesn't pick up your audio unless you tell it or give it permission.
I'll let her fiddle with that, but I will say while she's figuring that out, for Tracy, there was never a doubt. Tracy, when you look at the great actresses of that time period, I've seen photo shoots with Tracy, so I know in my mind I envisioned the hair, I envisioned the clothing. Her outfit, like that beautiful peignoir that you see her kind of gliding around in, that was customized. That was custom made. My costume designer had to make that. All the other clothing we got this original 1940s clothing. And
wow.
From prop houses in Los Angeles. So the casting was important to me. Even Monty Markham, who does the radio work on the very end, Monty has that fantastic voice. And when we were talking, I said, Monty, do it like the announcer in Citizen Kane. Do it with the kind of that real dramatic, elongated style of talking that they used to do back then, and it would be kind of a quick ramble, right? And he did, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 takes of it, and then I think it was the last take that you just went, that's fantastic. And it was fantastic. So yeah, the casting was great, and it was easy because, like I said, I represented them all, so I didn't have to search very hard. But what I did do, when I sent them the script, I sent them the script with my name not on it. I didn't want them to do it because it was me. I wanted them to like the material, and I didn't want someone. I just really felt funny about that. I didn't want to feel like I was taking advantage of anyone, even though they were a client. So everyone saw it without my name on it and liked it and did it. And Monty Markham, interestingly enough, he didn't even know it was my film until the premiere of it in Los Angeles. He came to it. I didn't even bother to tell him. He just did the audio, sent him a check, and production company name. He didn't know. And I remember sitting there in the audience, and I remember him looking at the screen, and he sees Chris Roe come across, and he just keeps. And I heard him. He reached over to his wife Claire, sitting next to him, and he goes, "Well, by golly, he spells his name the same way as Chris." He had no clue it was me, and she said, "Well, I think Chris did it." He goes, "Really?"
Oh, that's great.
I had no idea.
Me, Loyd and I were talking about Monty Markham before this and all the stuff he's done. I know a great movie he did I like called Project X, which is a great movie, but Lloyd's mentioned him about some shows too.
Well, it was the only sci-fi that he ever did, and it was for William Castle.
Yeah, William Castle movie.
About 6 years ago, he did a film called We're Still Here.
Yep.
It's a horror film, and he called me. I sent him the script, and he called me, and he goes, "Chris, this is one of those boogeyman films. I've never done one." I said, he goes, "Well, what do you think? You think I should do it?" I went, "Why not?" I said, "It's a great part." And it ended up being one of the top 10 indie horror films of that year on several different sites. Did beautifully at festivals. It got a pretty good distribution. And now,
hello.
Tracy.
Oh, we have Tracy. Look at you.
Sorry.
You are the queen of glasses. Look at that. You came on, you had sunglasses on, and now you have those. Those are amazing.
You know, I had a blonde moment when Chris told me that obviously we had this meeting today. I was thinking, West Pacific time instead of Eastern time. So I apologize. So you caught me, like I careened home on the freeway. That's why I had my glasses on. And then I couldn't see anything. And so I'm in the back of my storage room where my shop is run out of. And here I am. And then I realized I needed to take off my sunglasses so I could actually see what it was saying. I'm at the blind portion of my life now where I'm going like this with things. So anyway, hello, how are
Traci, you can do no
Traci.
wrong because I have loved you my entire life. So
We've
do
all
not
loved you.
worry at all. We still love you.
so much.
We wouldn't want you to show up on time. You're too cool for that, Traci. You have to show up when you want to show up, all right?
But actually, that's a thing with me. I hate when people are late. I really pride myself on being punctual, and I'm a loser today with this. What can I say? I'm so sorry.
Well, we have been thoroughly entertained by Chris Roe. He's a fabulous
he is
speaker.
thoroughly entertaining. Yes, he is.
Absolutely. I always look forward to my chats with Chris. And so we, not that we have not missed you, but we have been entertained by Chris. So welcome, Traci.
Well,
thank you for joining
So what
us.
did I miss?
Well, now you can tell us, Traci, how hard it is to work for Chris and how mean he is. And you can tell us all the real stuff, not the lies he's been telling us. So.
Exactly. Because he's been talking about how wonderful he is.
Yeah, how great
And
he is.
Yeah, he's known for his modesty. This is true. Chris is he's an amazing person. He's really funny. He works like no one else that I know for his clients. He believes in us. I think that he represents some incredibly talented actors and artists. And the fact that now he's moving into directing is just, it's really amazing. I don't know if he told you this or not, but one of the reasons he wanted to do it, so he says, is that he wants his clients to be showcased in wonderful ways, which is, I think, it's an incredible opportunity for us. And I loved making A Tale of Two Sisters with Chris, and I hope we get to do lots more. What else can I say? It was a beautiful film. I loved playing that part. I wish that my favorite piece in it, if you haven't seen the film, I don't want to give it away, but when the big turn reveal comes in the second half for the end of the film, I like playing those really edgy characters, the vulnerability and all of those things. They're fun to play, but I like roles that have a bit of teeth, without a better way of saying it. So this was a really juicy role, and I got to work with some amazing people, and I really hope I get to do it again.
Well, there's a lot of people.
In it.
Yeah, you were, and there's a lot of people that say that this was kind of the role you were born to play, this kind of neo-noir period role. So it's really fantastic to see you in it.
Well, thank you. I definitely, I love the 40s and I love the 50s, and I love those type of sort of dangerous women with all the different layers. And that whole sort of Hollywood, glamour, noir cinema is fascinating to me. So this was just something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time.
Right.
You really were great in it. And, even if I didn't see this, if somebody asked me who could play a 1940s actress, I would immediately say Traci Lords. Because like I was telling Chris, you are the embodiment of 1940s noir actress. You really are. So it's great to see you in this.
Well, thank you.
It's been amazing, and I'm really not even joking. I see so many comments even right now from people that were saying that you were kind of born to play that role. So that's such a compliment, I think.
Yeah, thank you. She was difficult to play. Chris and I talked a lot about, building the character and where to go with it. And, as an actor, I always tried to find something about a character that is redeemable, something about her that makes her likable. And this one, he really was very specific about what he wanted. And he wanted the audience, to hate her and to get her and all of those things. And that was a struggle for me because I kept looking for moments to make myself endearing, make myself lovable. And it was, just playing this really dark, she was just very jagged, her energy, and, wanting the alcoholism and all of those things about her. She wasn't a pretty character is what I'm getting at. You saw remnants of perhaps what she was one day, and right now she was just stuck in a really dark period of time. And for me, that was so uncomfortable. And Chris was so gracious about that because he knew that it was pushing like all of those actor buttons where you're just you want to be loved by people. You want the layers. You want to endear yourself, and being that. Just being that ugly on screen, I'm talking about like energetically and what have you, was a real struggle for me.
So it was a very challenging role. How does that compare to? Can you compare that to any other roles that you've done in the past?
I've been really fortunate to play roles where I've gotten to travel emotionally. So. But not quite in this sense, because yes, what we were just talking about, the fact that it was set in the 40s, and women behaved a different way, and all of those things, and Hollywood glamour, and the way that the golden age actors acted, and what was expected of them by the studios, by their management, their reputations, everything about them was completely different. So in itself, this was the first time I played a role that was, just this kind of sharp in a way, this sort of jagged emotionally.
Right.
Yeah, one thing I loved about this, Chris, I guess for both of you, is just the attention to detail from everything. A lot of times what you don't see in short films is that big attention to detail. And I'm meaning like the props, and like, as you mentioned, the wardrobe being from the 40s. Was it difficult, I guess, shooting this in black and white? I guess for you, Traci, knowing black and white, you have to be certain angles for shadows, or did you really rely a lot on Chris for that?
No, well, Chris, and we had an amazing director of photography, and they worked really hard on the lighting, and Chris was really meticulous in exactly how he wanted each and every, he wanted to really keep it authentic to the 40s. So I know they went to great lengths to get rid of like anything that would give it away on location, because we shot in this beautiful old Hollywood house, but it had been updated. And so the sockets on the floor, the light switches, all those things, they worked really hard in post to make that all go away, because they wanted it to be seamless.
Yeah, but that was, one of the factors in the editing room that went, oh my God, it was suddenly going to cost $6,000-7,000 in order to have all of that stuff digitally removed, because I knew that I couldn't sell it to an audience if they saw those things. And so I had a fantastic visual effects editor, and he went in scene by scene, frame by frame, and digitally removed anything that didn't look right. And it was hard, because you would have scenes where Traci, there would be a light switch, and then Traci would walk past it, then she would walk past it. And so you're going in, and he's literally having to stop everything, literally frame by frame, and go in and work on that. And he worked hours. It was the same thing in the cemetery, because by the time we got to the cemetery and we started shooting there, we were losing light. And so there were a couple of scenes where when you see Traci walk back to the car and the door closes, you can see the reflection of the cameraman and a couple of other people. And when we started looking at all the different takes, the best take was the take that had the cameraman's reflection.
Of course.
Jesus, what are we going to do? And he went in there and completely cleaned that up, and you would never even know. It's completely gone. And so that was one expense that I didn't have I didn't have a problem with anything. I understood it. It was real. I wanted it to look right. I'm one of those people that you'll never hear me say, oh, I got 10,000, I'm going to go make something. Don't care about it. You don't have the money to make it right, then you should make it. And I see so many people make films, and if they would have just raised that extra couple $1,000s, it doesn't do you any good to have a really well shot film with bad audio, or bad lighting with a really well shot film with actors and sound. I mean, you got to be consistent across the board. And so I really didn't spare any expenses when it came to that. We had to do it. It had to be done right. And it just kept going higher and higher and higher. But I don't regret it for a minute. We had over 200 props, but we had to have that. I mean, from cigarette, her antique 40s cigarette lighter to the ashtrays to the phones, all of those things had to be really authentic.
Authentic, yeah.
And the photos. You know, you have all of the photos and her Oscar that she won and all of those things. And one of the fun things that happened was during pre-production, Chris calls me just, you know, to go through notes, wardrobe things. And I said, what are you doing? And I can hear all this rumbling. And he says, well, I have a tombstone in the trunk of my car and I'm driving across town with it. And I don't know how I'm going to explain this if anyone stops me.
There's actually,
Chris could think of something.
Yeah, that's actually a funny story because it was in the back of my SUV, and I was driving back from Santa Barbara. I had picked up this tombstone, and from a prop house, I had it custom made, and I thought, oh my God, if I get stopped by the highway patrol or something. But a couple days later, I wanted to go to the cemetery to take some photos to get an idea of where I wanted it. And so I'm standing out there with the camera guy, and we're kind of going over everything. And I look and I go, well, wait a minute, what about from this angle? So we pick it up, we move it, we set it a different way. We're there for like 45 minutes. Meanwhile, people have come to pay their respects to, you know, a family member or a friend, someone who's passed. And I remember after we kind of said, okay, and we took all the pictures that we needed to take so we knew exactly where we wanted it, we picked up the tombstone and started walking to the car. And you saw this old shot about 20 feet away. They just stopped, and she starts tugging on his coat, and she starts pointing. It's a movie. We're shooting a film in a few days. They were horrified that we were walking away with this tombstone and sticking it in the back of the car.
Oh, that's funny.
That's fantastic.
I'm curious about something. You, Traci, you and Chris, you and Traci, you've had you're very close friends, and Traci, you're also a client of Chris's. What was the dynamic like? Because you're kind of switching, you know, you're doing these different roles with each other now. I mean, how was it like working for Chris as a director? And Chris, how was it like directing your client and your friend?
Okay, Chris, you go first.
Okay. I totally recognize what you were talking about, and it's something I had to really think about. And I'm known for being very like, I want to like this, I want to like this, I want to like this. And so suddenly when you're working with your clients, who are usually your source of money, I had to think about making sure that I tiptoed through the tulips a little nicer. I also knew in my mind, I knew that each person could give me exactly what I wanted. That's why I wrote it for them. And so already half the battle was won. It was just basically logistical stuff on set. Mm-hmm. But I really knew how they were going to perform because I know each of their personalities and I know exactly how they are. For Traci, I knew it was going to be a bit of a challenge for her to not be so nice when she's not used to being that way. And I knew this was at that time, there was a lot of stuff going on, and I knew it was a real challenge. And when you're on set, let me tell you, when they say, you know, you hear stories of people exploding on set, someone walking off this way, and someone, like, it can happen. It really can happen. And everything worked. A few tense moments on set, just in general, just looking at the clock. I had the clown standing over me with you know, his stopwatch going, oh, you're going to be in overtime in, you know, 10 minutes. That sort of stuff. But Traci delivered exactly what I needed her to deliver. What we didn't get the first round, we were able to sit back, examine, and do it for the reshoots that we did. A week later, I think it was a week later, we went in and did one day of just reshoots. And the rest is history. I know Traci and I talked very specifically about some scenes. I was always like, yeah, let's do it. Let's try it. Wanted to make her likable at times. And I absolutely sure that that's not what I wanted, but I also felt she's been doing this for a long time. Let's shoot it. You know, the time to shoot it. Well, we really didn't, but it was like, why not? You know, she could be right. Let's have something to play with. But at the end of the day, keeping the consistency of her being not a nice person, I think worked out best. Traci?
Well, I think I struggled with, you know, it wasn't because I've played characters that are, you know, I've played killers. I played a serial killer and Profiler. I played, you know, a vampire in Blade. So it's not so much, I think, about the fact that she wasn't nice. It was, as I said before, it was the jaggedness. But you know what it was, Chris? I just realized listening to you talk. It was that because it's a short film, there's no arc. That's what, as an actor, you know, really sort of threw me for a second. There wasn't an arc. It was, we come into her world when she's already, you know, toward the bottom of her career, and she has this major substance, you know, she's an alcoholic and she has all these things going on. And we get hints as to why she has been this way. But her performance, the performance that Chris wanted, was just really when she's already arrived there. So I think as an actor, I was kind of, and I wasn't aware that I was doing it at the time, but now listening to you talk, I realized exactly what it was. It was that it made me uncomfortable, not showing them the progress to there. It's like, I felt like I wanted to do the feature. I wanted to go from A all the way to the end. I just had to kind of like go right in there and stay within that perimeter. And that was a really hard thing for me to do. But it was also wonderful because it made me surrender to something that was uncomfortable, which, I mean, as an artist, what we all want to do is grow from roles. And that way it gave me that. So thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's amazing, and it's, you know, you guys have a great relationship, so I'm sure that helped, but it had to be uncomfortable, you know, at some point, trying to find your way through that, you know, and look at that dynamic. But you mentioned Blade, and that's probably one of my favorite roles of yours. I love you in that. But there's so many people that are talking about Crybaby right now. Everybody wants to hear about Crybaby. So I think we should talk about that for just a second.
Okay. Well, you know what? I mean, 2020 has been, wow. No one was expecting like all of this. And the fact that it too, you know, this was the year that we were going to celebrate the anniversary of Crybaby. And the fact that this film is so, you know, loved so many years later, has had a life of its own. It's incredible to me. It just really blows my mind. So I just want to say to all of the Frightmare fans out there, I am so sad that I'm not with you this year. I look forward to seeing you next year. I've never done photos as Wanda in costume before. I'm excited to do that for you next year. I miss you. I wish I was there with you. I really do. It was, you know, we were so looking forward to. We have so many great things. We've done so many special edition limited things. Last night, I was riffing on all of this, and my partner over at Pinup Girl, Laura Burns, we put together social distancing masks. I put them up last night. They sold out during the night. So it's the hunger my fans have. I hear you.
Well, the reaction. Fans. Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
No, I was saying, I was definitely bummed too, because I was looking forward to that Wanda Woodward photo op. So I'm also very sad, but we've got next year, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we've had such a reaction to that Crybaby in costume photo op, so a lot of people are really looking forward to it. But everybody understands that, you know, this is what happens. You know, we're in a pandemic right now, so it just gives us more to look for in 2021, and we can still celebrate the anniversary next year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we just stopped 2020. We're just
stop it. Jump ahead.
You just push the pause button, and we'll take off next year with 2020. So we'll actually be a year behind from this point forward.
It's just on pause. That's all. We're just pausing for a moment.
We'll have a redo year. We'll just redo the whole year.
Redo year. Yes, absolutely. But you know, on that note, John Waters is still such a dear, dear friend to me. I love him so much. I have so much respect for him. At the time when we were making Crybaby, I was about to turn 21. I had no idea how important that film would be in my life personally and in my career professionally. But it's amazing to me to see my fans, all walks of life, from women my age in their 50s to women in their 30s, to they're bringing their daughters, to grandmas, to the rockabilly scene, to just the way that it's really to the rock and rollers that even Crybaby, it resonated with so many different people for so many different reasons. And I think that it's stunning to me how many people just leave me messages and talk about how Wanda, she was their first kind of fashion. She gave them something to aspire to be. They love the fact that she was, powerful, badass, didn't take anything from anybody, told the creeps to go beat it, and she still somehow was the coolest, the slickest in the world. I aspire to be Wanda.
Do you get recognized most for Wanda, or are there other roles that you've done in the past? Do you think that one rises to the top, or is there something else that people recognize you most for?
It's all about Wanda. It's
all about Wanda.
It really is. There are people, they have their favorite things. And sometimes it surprises me. My fans are constantly surprising me. They'll post something, and maybe it's a picture I haven't seen from something, whether it's Jordan Radcliffe from Raven Nation, which was a series I did in Canada 2001 with Francis Ford Coppola. And so I played the leader of underground militia. See, you don't know what it is, but there are people that were really just obsessed with that character. It seems like the strong, females, whatever way, those are the ones that really, inspire people. And the women, anyway, they really gravitate toward the flashy ones. You mentioned Blade, and I'm in the film for such a short period of time, but it's one of the most iconic, I think, openings of a film, because the music is so amazing. And Stephen Norrington directed Blade, and it was the first real Marvel movie. It was the first Marvel movie that had an African-American male lead, being Wesley Snipes. Yes. And he directed it to music with headphones on his ears. And the rhythm and the beat and the way that film flows is unlike anything else. I don't mean to be prejudiced there, but it's my favorite Marvel movie, whether I was in it or not. All the sequels afterwards, they have merit for different reasons, but that first one, and to open it, it was amazing. It was really amazing. So, and
it really stands up to this day too. You can still go back and watch Blade, and everything stands up. It's fantastic. I went to see that movie blind. I had no idea what I was going to see. I went with my mother. Yeah. I took her to the theater, and we watched this movie together. No, my mom kind of introduced Chris has met my mother. She kind of introduced me to horror films as a kid, but we went to see a lot of horror movies together. I think I saw The Exorcist when I was like 4 years old with my mother. Mm-hmm. And
wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Blade was we went in to see that, and I was a little shocked at Blade, but I shocked in a good way. I loved it. I walked out of the theater, and I was a true Blade fan after that.
Yeah, kind of the same. I saw Blade in theaters too, and I didn't know Traci was in it, but I already knew Traci, of course, from Crybaby and Shock 'Em Dead, because I do like Shock 'Em Dead is a great movie. So I saw you pop up, and I was like, I love that film. It's great. Shock 'Em Dead. So yeah, it's so many iconic roles, and we're just so glad that you spent time with us today. You and Chris both. It's very nice of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Well, I have to say the response we had at Frightmare last year was really incredible. They got it. I mentioned something earlier about age. Sometimes black and white just becomes a block for a younger, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
And they, the young people who came to see it, and it was full. The room was completely full. I still get really nice notes from folks, when we won an award or something's happened, and it's always someone from Frightmare who saw it. And so, we appreciate the love and the good wishes with it. Just to say, we are working on it as a series now, and we're out pitching it to networks now, and we'll be continuing to pitch it for the next couple of months. things are in flux because of COVID, obviously. A lot of networks don't know what they want. But the great thing about it is it's kind of a multi-platform thing, because if for some reason it doesn't work as a series, we can always release it as an anthology movie. And we have that to fall back on, and we're actually moving in a good direction with it. So maybe by the time we come to Frightmare next year, we'll have
the sequel.
The sequel. Something really good to announce. That would be good.
Well, Chris, you're always a friend to Frightmare, and I can say that we're very happy to see your success with this. We're very proud to know this has kind of worked out how it has, because it really was a great film. So I'm looking forward to more from you, because yeah, it's fantastic. Everybody, is there plans to have it available online for people to view, or is it already available?
It's not available because it's still doing a few festivals. Some of the rules with festivals is that it can't play online anywhere, and not on any kind of a streaming platform unless it's played at a festival online.
Sure.
So I can't do it just yet, but and depending upon if it sells, what we do with it, that really depends on the direction it goes. Now, let's say something happens and the network goes, okay, we love this, we want to reshoot it, or maybe we don't want to use this one. We want to do a whole new full slate. Well, then at that point, what I really would like to do with A Tale of Two Sisters would be to actually turn it into a feature, and then Traci can have her arc. And
Yeah.
we can do the whole thing. So I've got all these what ifs and all these different things that we can do with it if and when that happens. But for now, you can catch it online at streaming festivals only. And I suppose when I find out when they're playing, I can let you guys know, and you can put it up. People can watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
Where can we send people for more information about it right now? Is there a website or anything?
Yeah, you can send it to teatimeproductions.net, and my production company, and it'll have all the details on there about it. You can keep up with it that way.
Perfect. Traci, is there a website we can send people to for you, or should we ask Chris?
It's TraciLords.com.
TraciLords.com. Okay.
That's easy to remember.
All things Traci.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's been a real honor to have
Thank
you both on the show. We had a blast. Anytime you guys want to come back, please let us know. We'd be glad to have you.
We'll do.
I'll be next week with Daniel about the book.
Yes, you will. You will.
We're looking forward to that very much.
Okay, gentlemen, stay safe. Thank you so much. Happy
You too,
Saturday.
Traci.
Mwah.
Happy Saturday.
And you as well. Take care.
Man, it's so great to talk to them. I haven't seen Chris in a long time. Haven't talked to Chris in a long time. So really happy to see the film. You know, his short film's still doing so well. It's a great film, and so much attention to detail. And Chris really is a perfectionist. And as somebody who does see a lot of short films, because I do screen them for festival in Dallas, the Dallas International Film Festival, I can tell you there's a lot of there's not really bad, but ones that don't have the attention to detail that Chris has. You know, a lot of stuff that people think, oh, it's a short film, I can overlook a couple of little things. And what Chris is saying really does show, you know, that there's time and effort put into it. So definitely, when we get more info, I'm going to push everybody to watch it on the streaming festivals that are going to be happening. So,
well, it's just so great that everybody actually packed the screening room last year to see this film. So I know a lot of people, there's been a lot of comments of people that have seen it at Texas Frightmare. And so that's amazing. Thank you, guys. Chris has always been a great friend to Texas Frightmare Weekend. We first started, mentioned earlier that I met Chris in 2006, so we started booking his clients in 2007. And he's made so many amazing guests possible, like Nev Campbell and, of course, Traci Lords and George Romero and Malcolm McDowell. So we love Chris and can't thank him enough for coming on.
Yeah, Chris, like I said, has always been a friend to the convention, and you know, one of the nicest people I have ever met, helping you with the festival, Loyd. He's always he always knows what he wants, but he's always a great guy to be around. So it's really good. When I heard he was doing a short film, and then to see it come out and then see, the success it had, it really is good because, you see these people, these people for so long. It really is, it's like their family. So you see their success and it feels good. So,
and things like the attention to detail that you were mentioning, what Chris was saying about going through with CGI and, wiping out some of the modern aspects that were caught on film. To me, that's amazing. And those are the
people
things
don't do that with short films. People don't do that with short films.
Yeah. And it makes you realize how much actually goes into making a short film, right? I mean, or making a film, and it makes you realize how much detail that you can pay attention to, or you can just skip over. But it's great that Chris did pay attention to that. Yeah,
it's little things like that you may not notice until somebody points it out to you, but the fact you don't notice it means it was done right. That's kind of how it is, because you'll more easily see something out of place than you will see something that should be there.
Yeah. So I'll put the poster up again. It's called Cemetary Tales, A Tale of Two Sisters. And as Chris mentioned, you can go to teatimeproductions.com, and that's TEA time. And then go to TraciLords.com.
TEA time, correct.
Yeah. Go to TraciLords.com and check all of her stuff out. That was really cool. And I meant that when I said it earlier. I've loved Traci just about all of my life. She's fantastic. And she's done so many cool cult films. And I'm glad you got to mention Shock 'em Dead. I was wondering how I was going to work that in there.
Oh, I was going to work it in there one way or another. It's a fun movie. It's a Metasploitation movie. One of the few Metasploitation movies that came out of the 90s, because it really died about 89. It was like lopped off at the head, and it's a fun movie to watch. So, it's great. And you saw Traci with her glasses. If you go on Traci Lords' website, she actually sells sunglasses there too.
Oh, really?
She sells a lot of cool stuff. I would tell everybody to go, because I was looking at her page a couple days ago. She sells like heart-shaped sunglasses. She sells a cool pin set from Crybaby. You can get autographed photos on there from her too. So anything you want from Traci, she's got it on there.
Doesn't she have a clothing line as well? Is that on there too, or?
Yeah, she's got T-shirts. It's the image you saw, maybe her popping up when she was losing video. It's that image of her as Lana. So, yeah.
How awesome for her to rush home though and jump on when she realized, I was supposed to be on the air, because probably me, I would have been like, well, we'll have to do it another time. I can't do this.
Be like, well, we're done. Sorry, guys. See you next time. But, yeah, I love her as Wanda, Crybaby. I saw her and stuff growing up, so I was always a fan. If you guys kind of look at her stuff, she was in episodes of Married with Children. She was in episodes of Roseanne. She's been in lots of stuff. So it's
Tales from the
cool
Crypt.
Just always talk to her. Tales from the Crypt, yeah. And we've been fortunate enough to have her, and we've met her a lot, and she's always as nice as can be. So looking forward to seeing her next year.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that that Chris and she offered, was to do that Traci Lords Wanda in costume, and I said, how can we possibly turn that down? I mean,
can't turn it down. I was telling you too, like after you told me about that, it was like a month before that, I was following an auction, and they were auctioning her screen used jacket from Crybaby, and I really wish I would have bought it, because it actually didn't go for too much money. It was not cheap, but
yeah,
I really wish I would have bought it if I knew that she was doing it, because I would have brought it for the photo shoot, but like, here, just put it back on.
You could have draped it over your shoulders and you wore like a Wanda wig or something. That would have been awesome.
That would have been cool. I would have dressed up like her. Would have been perfect. So.
Hey, I think I lost you. What happened? Now it's just it's double me. I think you turned off your video.
Maybe I'm so amazing that my video pops off. Did you ever think about that?
You're back. You're back.
So, yeah, thanks everybody for joining. As a reminder, we do have the Frightmare HQ auction that ends tomorrow in less than 24 hours. So me and Loyd will be on as stuff ends, so that's fun. Yeah. What else we got?
That Frightmare HQ auction is a big deal. We're doing that for Irving Cares. In case there's any confusion, these start ending at what time, Charles? Around noonish?
Yeah, so the items start ending around noon. I believe the first one is 12:09 Central Standard Time.
Okay.
So if you guys have made bids, just check them. They're ending between like 12:09 and 2 o'clock Central Time. So I'll send out a reminder later today because we're doing some adjustments on some of the times that are ending. So if you've already looked at your end time, I'd say check it later. We're just trying to bring everything kind of in a neat little time frame. That way we're not, sitting here for 3 hours while stuff ends. So stuff's going to be ending every like 1 to 2 minutes. So if you've made bids, thank you guys. It is portion going to Urban Cares, and we've already had a lot of bids. So we do appreciate everybody support for both Urban Cares and the show. So we thank everybody.
Absolutely. We do want to mention that tonight we've got our Twitch Prime watch party, and that's The Rise of Leslie Vernon, co-hosted by Argento Fan. So make sure you join
Argento
us
Fan.
Yeah.
One of our, always with us on Twitch, and he's in the UK, so it's kind of cool to have him join us because it's not early for the UK. So I really appreciate him coming on and hosting it with us. So really cool.
It's super late where he's at, so I think he said it starts at around 1 o'clock for him or something. So
yeah, he's a night owl. So
let's see. Tonight we've got that. Sunday we've got the auction. Mm-hmm. And then we're back to Wednesday for 1971.
Yep, we're continuing our Year in Horror series. We'll keep that going until we run out of years. So
right. And then next Saturday we've got Chris Roe's going to come back with author Daniel Krauss to talk about the new novel he co-wrote with George A. Romero called The Living Dead. That should be awesome to get some inside scoop on that.
Looking forward to that. I didn't realize the book was 700 pages when he said it, so I'm interested to hear about how he finished it, how he got it, all that stuff. Should be interesting because we love George. We love George.
Definitely. I'm going to give away a photo. This is Danielle Harris.
Ooh.
Look at that. This is a Danielle Harris signed 8x10. And
nice.
I don't know if anybody is interested in winning that or not. What do you think, Charles? Think you might give shares at all?
I think they do. It's Danielle. I've got that same image tattooed on me. So, the image of her, not of Michael. Just her. I'm the creepy man with the little girl tattooed on him. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say about that.
She's older than you, so Charles, it's okay.
Well, Charles has been in love with her since Charles was a little kid, so everybody knows that.
Yeah. Let's give this away, though. Charles, do you have any Halloween 4 trivia to give this photo away with? If you don't, I can come up with something. But I know you're the Halloween 4 guy, so I'm kind of going to you.
No, yeah, I mean, Halloween 4 and 5 are... Yeah. Let's see. Give me the name of somebody else who auditioned for Jamie besides Danielle Harris, because there's a few people that are known.
Okay. First one we see pop up on either Twitch or the YouTube chat wins this with the correct answer. Someone else that auditioned to play Jamie Lloyd, right?
Yeah. There's a few ones.
We just need one name. Todd Lewis says no idea. He was the first one. No idea. Melissa Joan Hart.
Yep.
That's David Dugas. David, you have won this signed photo by Danielle Harris. It's got a little bit of a glare on it, but everybody knows.
That's a great photo. That's a great image. Yeah, I grew up on Halloween 4 and 5, so it's great. That's a great one to add to your guys' collection.
Awesome. So, David, message us. Make sure we have your address. I'll get that shipped out to you. What I want to do before we go, I just want to go through and say thank you to a few of our viewers. I want to say thank you to Tracy Flowers.
Tracy?
Play with Knives. Dale McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm trying to scroll, but it's scrolling too fast.
Thank you,
Dale
everybody.
McLaughlin, Surly Curly Girly,
Sarah Curly Girly.
LJ Flores,
LJ.
and Joshua Palace 40, Brandon Dees. All of these people followed us on Twitch today. Thank you for your follows.
Thank you for your follows, guys.
As well as, man, the follows just keep going. There's Raven Siren and X8V3NOM8X followed us as well.
It's a great name.
Raven Siren subscribed as a tier 1. Thank you for the subscription.
Thank you, Raven. Thank you, Raven.
Michelle Rawls subscribed, and I should probably just name a bunch of these. Honky Drum, X Blight,
Honky Drum, love
Honky
it.
Drum, X Blight 13X followed as
Nice.
well. Honky Drum and Michelle subscribed. Thank you. And then
Thank you, guys.
Jared Cormouche subscribed, and Stephanie Reyes became a tier 3 Patreon patron. So that's
thank you, Stephanie.
awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We
And
got
I
our
think that-
Patreon, guys. If you have, I think we have a link to it, but our Patreon's under Frightmare HQ. We do special shows on there for our Patreon. I think we're going to do another one soon because we had a lot of fun with the last one. We did a John Carpenter one. So I think we're going to do
That was a lot of
John
fun.
Carpenter
yeah.
retrospective. Yeah, so I think we'll do another retrospective. Maybe we'll pick another director. Maybe we like to jibber jabber about movies. That's what we do.
We do. Joshua Palace, thank you for watching. He said thank you for a great interview, and then he said Danielle
Joshua.
Harris is awesome. Met her twice, super sweet and super cool. She is awesome.
Yeah, she's always super awesome. I can remember the first time I met her. I was like, hi, Danielle.
Yeah.
Now I see her. I'm like, what's up, Danielle? Yeah.
What's up, Danielle? Thank you guys.
Yeah, man, we love you guys. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I'm just kind of reading. We have so many people watching with us right now, and it's fantastic to see that kind of support. We really appreciate that. If anybody wants to summon El Diablo before we leave, I'm going to put the link up on Twitch and YouTube, and it's just like a $6.66 donation, and you can bring El Diablo on the screen.
El Diablo. The power of El Diablo will compel you. So if anybody wants to power El Diablo, do it.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen El Diablo. So
We haven't seen El Diablo in a while, so
I know.
But besides that, though, yeah, I mean, I do appreciate all the follows, guys, all the likes. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like on YouTube. That really helps. But it's a great interview. We love talking to Traci. We love talking to Chris Roe. We're looking forward to next week. You know, we love just sitting here talking about movies with you guys. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun to jibber jabber, do our jibber jabbering.
It is a lot of fun. And
yeah, and if you, just remind again, you know, we'll make more posts about the auction, but there is some really great stuff in the auction. We pulled out a really cool stuff. A lot of people who have left us, a lot of multi-sign items, which are hard to get, and we'll be on tomorrow with stuff in. So some really cool stuff for you guys.
I've been really amazed. I was going through the list and just looking at stuff and writing down names for a Facebook post, and it was like Rob Zombie, John Carpenter, Ernest Borgnine, Alice Cooper, Karen Black, and the list, it just keeps going on. Toby Hooper. I mean,
yeah, Toby Hooper, guys, is we put up one 8x10. That's the only thing we're going to put up because Toby Hooper's autograph. You know, he didn't do that many conventions. He did a few, and despite him doing conventions, his autograph is nearly impossible to get to where you know it's 100% authentic. And the ones that are authenticated are a lot more than what it's going for on our auction. So it's a great opportunity to get one.
Well, that's the cool thing about our auction is that all of this stuff comes from our own personal collections.
Everything.
All
my stuff has been signed in front of me. You know, it's all been.
And 99. Huh?
He said some of Loyd's stuff too. I would get Loyd's stuff signed for him. I'm Loyd's autograph runner.
He did. He has a lot. He's had a lot of my stuff autographed for me. The only things that I know of that weren't signed at Texas Frightmare are the Rob Zombie Lords of Salem novels, but those came right from the distributor, the publisher. Yeah. The publisher had those signed and sent it to us. And then the Exorcist, the William Friedkin ticket, signed by William Friedkin. But you had that signed by yourself, but it just wasn't at Frightmare.
Wasn't it Frightmare? I had William Friedkin sign that. He actually did a shout out to Frightmare too when I had him sign that year.
I remember.
Yeah, that's another one. And there's one autograph on the Walking Dead poster. So I have a Walking Dead poster on there, guys, that has a crap ton of people on it. But the Sugar Plays Michonne signed it, and she signed that in front of me though too. It just wasn't at Frightmare. So I can't ever say her name right. I always butcher her name. So she has an awesome name.
We also had somebody email us and say, "Oh, that Norman Reedus didn't sign that stuff," but I sent it over to you and asked you about it and was like, "What was he talking about?" And you explained that Norman used to sign his name a lot differently.
Yeah,
right?
So the Norman Reedus items I have up are from when Norman did the show in 2011. So he used to sign his name
right at the beginning of the Walking Dead craze, right?
Yeah, the Walking Dead craze. So he used to sign his, and it's actually signed on there. I circled where it was, but he used to sign it like a big Norman Reedus. It was very thin. So I think the poster, you can see it, it's in green. And I think the one somebody mentioned was the program. He signed it. It's there in silver. It's bold as can be.
But that's cool because what I thought about that after you told me that is that's kind of a rare item then if it's the old way he used to sign and not the new way.
Yeah, so since he got super popular, most of his stuff now when he does conventions, it's just an N and an R because he signs them really fast. Mm-hmm. He does an N and an R, N and an R, N and an R. And he used to do a full name. So there's like 3 transitions of Norman Reedus' signature you can follow. Like there's when he used to do shows before Walking Dead was big, it was mostly Boondock. It's, Norman Reedus. And then it became this more rushed Norman Reedus, and now it's just an NR. So a lot of his stuff. Norman Reedus is a hard one because if you catch him, he may change his signature during a convention because I've seen him start conventions, has Norman Reedus, and then as he gets busier, it just turns into the NR. So I've seen people post stuff where his signature changes throughout the convention, which I get if you have, 2,000 people in line, like some of those places,
Right.
That's like, all right, roll. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. But great stuff. Great stuff.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for now. And we will see you tonight for the Twitch Prime screening. I want to thank you all for joining Frightmare HQ. My name is Loyd Cryer. I'm here with Charles Doze or Carlos Blueberry.
Carlos Blueberry the Third. That's my porn director name.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, thank you all very much. We love you, and we'll see you soon.
We love you guys. See you guys soon.